Welcome back to Morning Express. It's now 8:30 and it's time for us to get into technology. Tech Central is what we call it. Now, sexual health is one uncomfortable topic to discuss even with one's personal doctor. So what if you can get answers on your sexual health digitally? Well, on Tech Central today, I have Ivan Amukasa, the CEO for Showbit platform of artificial intelligence, to give us the answers. He will explain to us how it works. Welcome, Ivan, this morning. And well, let's first of all start just by a very basic definition of AI. So we don't want to confuse it with artificial insemination, like I mentioned earlier. This is artificial intelligence, but what exactly is that?
Let's start with intelligence. Artificial intelligence is intelligence exhibited aside from humans. Like inherently, carbon beings can exhibit intelligence, learn how to connect one and two, learn how to move, how to walk. But if you infuse that into machines, now that we call AI.
So in other words, what you're doing is you're trying to get a machine to almost perform like a human brain.
Yes.
To be intelligent in that regard.
It would be intelligent.
But I'm sure there are limits.
Yes.
So far. What are those limits?
So limits are something called natural language processing. It's how machines understand words, how the context of a sentence versus how humans understand the context of a sentence, and that's what we're trying to solve at Sophie Board right now.
Okay.
So that's it. What else is driving? You saw the Uber accident that happened.
The self-drive, not self-drive. It's actually no driver.
Yes,
Uber.
So there are ethical issues that come from that. So where does the blame go to? Is it Uber itself because they designed the technology? Is it the driver who was behind the seat? So those are the limitations, but it's a new industry. It's like physics in the 90s where Einstein was alive. So as more people get into the space, the more we'll move forward and move faster.
All right. Now let's look at one of the things we've mentioned here, and that's sexual health.
Yes.
Because like just I mentioned there in the intro, it's one of those areas that is very uncomfortable for obvious reasons. It's private, but how can AI now help out?
Awesome. Talking about sex is awkward and hard. You get stigma from it. Talking to an AI, it doesn't have the implicit biases a human can have. So now you'd get no judgment from asking a question to an AI persona such as.
Purely just going to answer your question.
It
doesn't keep memory that so and so is suffering from this. Ooh, gossip.
Yeah, and because it's technology based, can also be. It can also be made anonymous because the interface where someone actually asks a question, you can make that free from logins and all that. And that's what we've done at Sophie. The last thing is provide accurate information. We make a lot of mistakes when asking a question. AI can notice that and provide actual answers. And provide true answers and verifiable answers, accurate answers. And that can be built onto the technology.
How different is that from Googling?
Interesting. So you Google, get a ton of such results. Which one do you trust?
Okay.
Yeah, on Sophie Bot, you get a specific answer to your specific question, and it's up to us to make sure that answer you're giving you is verifiable. Yes.
And how do I verify? Because I am assuming that you've probably done your homework on that particular answer. And then the thing is with a doctor, physical doctor, is that there are certain questions that he may ask to understand the history of, say, if it's a problem, if it's headaches, for example. He may want to know what's the history of it, what circumstance, is it when there's too much light, too little light? Now, with AI, am I getting that as well? Or is it purely, I ask, I have a headache, what's the solution? You tell me, okay, fine, go take Panadol.
Yeah, so AI only, at this level, it only solves information. You want to know about STIs, etc. It only solves that. And how to know if we give credible answers is the partners we have around us. We have, last time I was here, I was telling you, we were pitching to get funding from the United Nations Population Fund. We got that funding.
Congratulations.
So you're
able to develop that.
Yeah, develop that. And it's not just money, it's their resources, it's their peer mentor curriculum, content from their peer mentor curriculum that you're putting onto Sophie. So our backing is not, we only solve the end-to-end, getting someone information. The issue about a doctor, what SophieBot solves is access, because one doctor cannot look at 1,000 patients at the same time.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
So AI can come along to trim So when it gets to an actual doctor, it's at that level where a doctor is actually needed, making him more efficient.
Okay, and it might be good to just let the audience know what SophiBot is, because you keep mentioning SophiBot,
yeah.
but it might be good to know what exactly that is.
SophiBot is AI, artificial intelligence, to answer questions on sexual health because it's awkward and hard to talk about.
So it's basically like a name given to this person or this app. Is it an app?
Yes, you can use it as an app, but you can use it on all other platforms too. Facebook Messenger, Telegram, Twitter. Just search at me, SophiBot, and ask a question.
And because I don't know why Sophie, because there was Sophia, now there's Sophie. But anyway, I guess
I can talk about that too, because the story is epic. We start UNFPA when you're looking for funding. The ones who pointed us to this problem, and they were like, "Here's the marketing material had a video of a girl called Sophie, and about how her life gets messed up because she doesn't know enough about sexual health." And the line in that video says, Sophie's pregnancy is not the only positive thing about her. Like, that hit us really hard. So we were here creating an AI persona that knows about sex and sexual health. It was only right we
use
pay
that
tribute.
name.
Yeah, pay
All
tribute
right.
to Sophie.
So now, if somebody is out there and they want to now get those answers, how do you talk to Sophie?
Because we did this demo last time. So search SophiBot on all platforms. Go to the Play Store, search SophiBot. Go to Facebook Messenger, search SophiBot. Go to Twitter, search SophiBot. Go to Telegram.
And Sophie, it's Sophie B-O-T.
SophiBot. Yeah, SophiBot. If you want to be specific, it's at Miss SophiBot.
Okay.
At Miss SophiBot, yes.
And then she can answer via Twitter, via all the social media platforms, including audio.
So that's only exclusively on the app, because you text her and she answers back, and you can turn that feature on. Yes, it came helpful on Tuesday. I was doing a podcast with Microsoft, and they're like, show us a demo, and I was like, let me turn the audio on so you can listen to it.
Okay.
So it's default off because you're in a matatu asking a question and Sophie starts speaking. Okay. So it's default off. You can turn audio on the app.
Okay, yes. And I saw one, I think that was doing rounds of a similar AI helper when you're driving. But of course, the risk was when you get arrested and the machine or, the AI actually says that we're doing, a speed that was beyond the speed limit. But I guess those are some of the challenges that may come on board. One of the other things you've developed is to do with the pictures that we take.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about that.
We noticed, like, this ecosystem, we needed more guys working on AI, and we went around to solve that, because it's selfish, because we don't want to go to Silicon Valley to hire developers. Like, let's have developers here. And second was we needed to move the technology on SophiBot forward. So as we're doing that, as we're developing new technology, we make that new technology into simple experiments that other people out there can start experimenting with, and one of it is the one that converts photos into art. There was an app before, it's called Prisma. It was bulky, etc. We went around it by letting you tweet to a Twitter account, and instantly converts your photo into art. Yes.
Okay, so run me through that. Basically, you take a picture.
Send
it to that
Twitter account.
That Twitter account.
Yes.
And then it converts and sends it back to you,
yes.
or do you just download it?
It sends it back to you. It mentions you. It replies to that tweet.
And this is instant?
It is
more or less.
More or less instant. Yes.
What's the time frame we're looking at?
Interesting. So because that's running off my my laptop, we've done that with you. So it's around 2-3 minutes maximum tops, because it's an experiment. So we're not deploying it out there for actual use.
Okay.
So 2-3 minutes. The entirety of the show, send a tweet at #Shtaki_Kenya, and it'll convert it into.
And maybe this would be the time now to try it. You can take a picture now, and maybe for the benefit of somebody who might think that maybe we had prepared this earlier.
Yes.
What's the Twitter handle, or how do they send it? I'd challenge or ask one of our viewers to send to that particular handle, and let's see what it does and how it develops it. But meanwhile, we can also take one.
We can also take
or you can use the one we had taken with Ashley before.
Yes, so I have a feed on the other end. Yes.
Okay,
that's,
so
that's it.
There you go. So that's a picture we took just before we went on air with you. And what we did is just take the picture, And it converted it automatically?
Yes.
Okay, so what's how does one send their picture so that we can actually have maybe one of our viewers have their picture converted?
If you go back to that screen, you can show the entire Twitter account. So it's _Shtaki. So we couldn't have this on Sophie because Sophie is a conversation on sexual health. This is an experiment on other platforms. So you see that account, Shtaki_KE.
Maybe you need to spell that. Shtaki.
Shtaki. SHATKI.
Okay.
SHATKI _KE. And then tweet a photo there. And
underscore.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And it will the account will automatically convert it into art.
Okay, now once it's been converted, what happens? Do I now get a notification or do I just wait for it to...
Because it mentions you at Michael G. Michael G, here's your photo turned into art. So tweet at it, you'll get a notification. Here's your photo turned.
Okay. And hopefully somebody's tweeting their picture, and we'll see how fast it's converted and what they have. Make the picture as fun as possible, but of course, by all means, one that we can broadcast.
Yeah. But that's the problem of getting.
Yeah, because that's the other thing. Does it filter? Because you could get some people who are, well, let's just say they display more than is expected.
I know. Interesting. Now that's like a censorship issue Twitter needs to handle. But then goes back to this is like...
There are other pictures that it's converted?
Yeah, converted. Yeah, there are a ton of other pictures it's converted. So the thing is, this wasn't like a product you wanted to deploy and try and make money out of. This is a project, we put it out there. The source code, like how to make this happen for yourself, is free out there. So come and start participating in AI.
So what's the objective? What are you intending to get with this if it's not something that ultimately, pays you at the end of the day?
It informs the tech we're building on Sophie to solve that NLP problem that we're solving. And then also this experiment, it's public to it's open to the public, getting more people in the ecosystem out there to start working, a starting point with a Kenyan reference to start working on AI, because the source code is out there. How to run this on your own, Twitter account is open out there. You can use it. So it goes. If I go back to the technology, it goes back to a simple principle you want to do on SophieBot. Get a collection of questions and answers. SophieBot learns and then provides answers, rather than us having to update 24. Because that's what we've been doing the last 1 year. Okay. So same thing with the art is it learned from one picture and then it can apply to. So
does that mean that if I take a picture, the style then remains the same because it has learned maybe that particular style from one picture, or does it have different versions?
So it has learned from 3 printings. So there are 3 classical paintings. There's a Van Gogh, there's a Van Gogh, there's a Pablo Picasso there. So it learned from 3 distinct, very famous paintings, and then it's applying what it has learned there to an actual photo. So whenever you tweet, it picks a style at random. The bot itself, the AI itself, chooses if it's going to give you a Van Gogh or it's going to give you this other Picasso style. So that's it.
And do I have the choice? For instance, I may want a particular style, whereas AI now picks for me another. Do I have a choice where I can instruct it?
Instruct it. Now that the source code is open, I'll have you be a developer, because the source code also allows you to train. And to train, like the source code is so open, you can train it on your own style. So if you see a Kenyan artist and a painting, you can train it for that model and deploy it. You're like, oh, but this is a Kenyan painting. You can convert your photos into the style of this Kenyan painter.
All right, going back to SophieBot and the questions that she answers. It's a she, right?
Yeah,
Sophia. With the questions she answers, do you then have to keep updating based on, because things change?
Yes.
You may have development in terms of where diseases are today, or just sexual questions. Does that have to be done physically by somebody who's changing that?
That's what we've been doing the last 1 year. So we were here in it was June or August 2016. So we've been doing that till April.
That must be labor intensive.
I have a team of 6 guys, so it was truly labor intensive. That's why we were like, now we have to build an end-to-end product. And our strategy right now isn't just to answer questions on sexual health. We want Sophie to automate customer support for businesses in sexual health. So the trick there is we get this huge wealth of question and answers, give them value to handle their customer support, and SophieBot grows in knowledge. Because last time we were here, we could only answer three questions. Now I'm seated here with you, can answer 40,000 questions asked differently. We want those 40,000 questions to learn. It be an end-to-end, learn from it, and continuously.
All right. Let's just check. I think by now we should have a picture that has been sent, and keep them coming. And do let us know whether it's a hit or a miss for you. Is it something that you would use, or oh, there we go. I'm not sure if we have a name. I can't see it from here, but we have somebody who sent. So is that a Picasso?
Yeah, this is, it's a Picasso. It's a Picasso.
That's Picasso.
It's a Picasso.
Okay. And Otieno, let us know whether, it's something that you would use or not. And, well, some art right there.
Yes. So there's something more. There's more. So the same principle is AI learns from one thing and then applies it to other. So it keeps developing itself? No, we have to develop. We have to develop. There's a group, I call it a holy when I develop a group. When somebody said computers can now learn from themselves, you're like, no, that's inaccurate. Not true. That's not true. So yeah, training AI, it's up to you to train them. So we've trained the same model, the same AI model. We've trained it to do two other things. Learn, because this was learning from one piece of art and applying it to others. We trained it to learn from Shakespeare, and then now start tweeting as Shakespeare. Okay, I think we have another picture from Francis, and let's see, is that also a Picasso? No, and what is interesting is that this is happening in the background. You're not actively doing anything. It's automated. How does that work? How does that, does the software or the app, I don't even know if it's a software, if it's an app, does it just recognize that somebody has sent a picture, then do its thing? Yeah, so every 5 minutes it listens to, so there's something called a Twitter API, like us developers building on top of Twitter. So they let us listen to tweets from my account and it listens to when I'm being mentioned. So whenever I'm being mentioned, it looks at this account. Whenever this account is being mentioned, like you mentioned at @Shtaki_Kenya, it looks at that tweet, looks if there's an image in that tweet, and then gets that image, converts it into art, and replies back to his photo turned into art. All right, keep the pictures coming so that we can see the different kinds of art that are there. Yeah. And the other thing would be, what else can this AI be used for? For instance, I'm just thinking, for instance, if I got arrested and I do not know what the law requires for me to have, is that something that possibly SophieBot could do so that I could just tweet and say, I have been arrested, I don't have my driving license. What does the law say about that? Interesting. So that's why we need more people in the space, because only SophieBot, you can only handle sexual health and customer support for businesses in sexual health. Getting more other people can diversify the space that we're in, get more people solving AI. So there's a company in the US, it's a bot on Facebook Messenger, and it solves all the legal hassles, like people go to a lawyer, like affidavits, like all the... So what it has done, it has overturned over 600,000 parking tickets. Wow. Yes. AI, like the impact of AI. So somebody out there is solving it. Is developing that, yeah. So, and when you say you need more people on board, are you talking about developers or just ideas? Developers. We need more developers. We need more people actively developing, so that breeds ideas. More people in this space talking about this, we can now look at new approaches, look at how to solve it. So that's its skill set here. We need it. And what's stopping you so far from getting more people? Is it that we don't have developers? Is it that people are not yet in that space? What's the challenge? So it's something I have with the specific community. They're still at the hype stage where, I link 5 industries that can be disrupted by, I know he's watching, I want to roast him. So 5 industries that can be changed. So we're still at that hype stage. We need more people to actually start developing. And that's the thing with the ecosystem. And more people are, like us, SophieBot out there, talking about AI and making all these open source projects, open source experiments, not exclusively SophieBot code, gets more people in the space. Because it's not ideas on problems it will solve, it's ideas on tweaks on AI itself, and then that can be applied to different problems. All right, and we'll need to wind up soon, but where do you see AI taking us? What's the vision for AI eventually? To quote my my mentor, there's called Andrew Ng. He's an engineer at Baidu from Google. He says he has a talk called AI is the new electricity. The 4th industrial revolution is being fueled by emerging technologies. So AI will be there. And it won't be there to take away jobs. It will be there to complement actual human labor. SophieBot, rather than when you start supporting customer support, rather than firing everyone in the customer support department, is answering this first contact questions on the business, and then when it gets to an actual customer care agent, it's actually needed there. So to make us more efficient as a human race. So the future of AI, it's the new electricity. It'll drive a lot of new businesses. It'll create new industries. It'll create a ton of new jobs, but it won't take away the human race. It's only there to make us perform better.
Okay.
Yes.
Finally, what message would you have to young people out there? Because this is a new space, but it's definitely one with huge potential.
Yes.
As we are suffering and grappling with unemployment, what is your message to the young people out there? How can they take advantage of this space?
Something I said in the Windows podcast, you do not have to wait to go to Stanford and get a PhD in computer science to start working on this technology. You can start now. And we've tried as SophiBot to make it better for you. It's work we're actually doing internal at SophiBot, but then making it accessible to you guys, the actual raw source code. So start working on this tech now, right now. Yes.
All right. And, well, I'd like to... oh, there is another picture that's coming in, and I understand this is from one of our very own. Oh, there you go. Some art and interesting, the kind of different pictures that we have. I don't know if Ashley had sent her picture yet.
So that style is A Starry Night by Van Gogh.
Night.
Yeah, so that's like it learned from Van Gogh and then it's applying.
And I can actually hear her screaming in excitement. I guess she's quite happy with that. For her, it must be a hit. And, well, fantastic. And, well, how many pictures can it take? I mean, can it be crushed by volumes in case you have so many people sending in pictures?
So that's limited by computational power. So it's that, surprise, surprise, that's running off this laptop right now.
As we're speaking?
As you're speaking, like that, it's running off this laptop as you're speaking. So if you deploy it somewhere else with more computational power, it can handle many more photos at once.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, and let me bring in Ashley now. And Ashley, your thoughts and possibly just feedback on